Hey, yay, yay. All right. Give me a second. I deserve a treat for that. Oh my gosh, you guys. Seriously. You want to stress me out? Fuck with me right before a show, you know? And I'm not saying anybody out there fucked with me, but I'll tell you. Hell, I should be recording this. Am I recording? Yeah, I'm recording. I'm blaming this on Microsoft. I mean, come on. It's like, you think we're just fucking with the Masons here? People think, what is this, just some social club? Holy crap, this is the definition of Satanism walking around on Earth in human form. We're fucking, what do you think what do you think's under the Getty? It's Masons. What do you think the Templars are? They're Masons. It's all this, and what is that? Mafia? Come on, how many times have I been telling you? Yes, it's all one big mafia. It's all the same damn thing. Anyway, I'm glad you guys stuck around with me. It only took, 26 minutes to get the show started? My gosh. All right, I'll tell you what. Let me start getting serious here. All right, everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Stephen D. Kelly, and this is the Stephen D. Kelly Show. We're running a little bit late, but we are Truth Cat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. Let me see what kind of crowd we got here, if anything's suspicious. We got a pretty decent crowd. I mean, I would expect there should be a whole bunch of Masons in here tonight wanting to hear what's going on, but you know what? It just looks like regular people to me, with all your ISPs and stuff. I guess maybe they don't want to tune in because they're afraid I'll get their ISP. All right, everyone. Seriously, my computer right now is a little screwed up. I could say it's warm in here, and I should have rebooted it and gone through this stuff earlier today, but I don't pay attention. I just assume my Skype and stuff is going to work from one minute to the next. All right, the title of the show, Butthurt Satanic Masons. Trust me, when I think of these titles, I'm actually doing this while I'm asleep. These titles are coming to me, and I'm like, is that a good title? Is that going to stay in my brain all this time? And usually by the time I wake up, the title has been revised and refined. And today's title, of course, first thing in the morning, you got this one. I don't usually do that. It was Butthurt Satanic Masons. I want to remind everybody that, yes, they are satanic. Now, if you know me, I don't necessarily waste any time going after Masons and all that because, I mean, my God, we're going after the Getty. I mean, it's the tough part. Doesn't get any more Mason. I mean, come on. We don't need to talk about these idiots with their little lodges running around in the local level. So I'm going to tell you, if you've been paying attention to what's going on within the group or what's going on in Twitter or what have you, just the local buzz, there's something going on, and we stirred up a hornet's nest of Satanists, but they're really stupid hornets. But that's the impression I got. I mean, obviously we are the real hornets here, but the point is that I want to talk about how this all started and get into some of the details. And I don't want to really talk about Masonic stuff so much because they kind of, basically I say it's Satanism. And when you before I even get started, when you push them into a corner over this Satanism that they practice, that they say isn't Satanism, eventually they'll tell you, you're wrong. Satan is actually God. You've got it backwards. Jesus is Lucifer or whatever, some stupid thing like that. I've heard it so many times. I've heard it from the Getty people. Seriously, I've heard it from the Getty people. And yet, doesn't matter how big these Satanists think they are, in the end, they're going to come and tell you that they think they're enlightened. They knew the secret. They really know the scoop on Lucifer, and we've all been fooled. But anyway, welcome to the new people who've joined us. We got a few extras, maybe it's you guys, but I'll just tell you this, of course. The root of this Masonism, Masonic, whatever you want to call it, secret societies, it's no different than the way they work with the CIA and these agencies. Is they do prey on your greed, they do prey on your ego. They go through the same cycle of building you up and tearing you down and building you back up again. This kind of thing. Anyway, now I had the inspiration to get a hold of Reptile Hybrid and say, hey, man, we have to do a show. We have to do a Spaces. And mostly this was because I believed that a lot of events were taking place mostly around the shooting of Trump, and I needed to get my feelings out there and things like that, and events that were going on aside from that. But that was what I really wanted to talk about, and I was really motivated to get this thing going a little extra. I knew something for some reason I needed to do this, but when I did it, we went in there, I thought it was going to be another opportunity to just try to shed as much information as possible on people. I got these Masons in there. Now you could see the little profile picture that these people have, and you could see some certain details about them. If you slide the cursor over the person while they're in the group, you could see some details that they have posted on their profile. One of the things these guys all had, these little red circles, things like that. We're going to be talking about that tonight. But it turned out, let's just say it started out with a single Mason, and then maybe a couple more popped in there. And apparently they had a program. They probably had a reason to be in there, because I think ultimately what they were trying to do was actually promote a scam, a group that they were running, an esoteric group allegedly. And this was a revenue vehicle for them, and this was just another day at work, and they were having commercials. And the one thing that they were building their money stream off of was this Masonic crap, and the idea that somehow by having these secrets that you can make money and influence people and basically manifest, kind of like the stuff that we do, only without Satan. Well, anyway, there's this one guy, the first one, his name, he called himself Captain, well, not Captain, yeah, was it Captain? No, Dr. Marvel. Now, I guess this is a comic book character or whatever. And he actually, in the conversation, revealed himself to be a Disneyland worker who dressed up as Kylo Ren in the one Star Wars movie I've never actually watched. I'm sure I haven't watched several of them, but that was one I just avoid like the plague. But anyway, his life was built around that. And apparently, in the process of me saying whatever it was I was saying, talking, answering questions and whatnot, I gave my opinion on the Masons. And I think it was because Reptile Hybrid, who was the guy that set this thing up for me, knew that there were a bunch of Masons in the audience and knew that they were going to want to share their Masonic bullshit. And so he asked me a question, what do you think about Masons? I went, blah, 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 blah. They were basically okay until 1776, when Weishaupt and Frank and Rothschild decided to create the Illuminati and infiltrate the Masons. So apparently they didn't like that, because the number one bottom line thing is they don't want their thing associated with Satanism, because they are walking amongst us in public and being mixed up in our business, law enforcement, government, all over, whatever. And it's a satanic corrupt empire that seeks to gain power. But anyway, I thought I would humor this guy, and he let this idiot Marvel talk, and Marvel, of course, came off with some bullshit defense of the Masons that they drone on. They don't really say anything. It's mostly bullshit, but they drone on. It's like a trope they put out. And I thought I would screw them, and I said, hey, is it true that when you become a Master Mason, you have to swear to protect the widows, wives, children, orphans of fellow Master Masons? Of course, they have that word in good standing. You can't screw those people, basically. You have to swear. That's the final oath you take. The final order you take when you become a Master Mason is you will assist your brothers, and at the same time you will protect, and you will do no harm to the orphans or the widow or whatever. Now, the reason why I say this, of course, is because I live in a home that was once owned by a Master Mason, who's now owned by his daughter, who was a Job's daughter and Eastern Star, formerly. And, the mother was, of course, the same thing. And it's kind of a Mason family, real high up there. He was in Hollywood and high up there. But anyway, he's dead. But the point is that his orphan still owns a home and can't fuck with me. And I've always known this. This is one of the reasons why they can't fuck with me. And so I put that out there. And he said, well, I don't know. And I don't know anything about that. I said, okay, fine. I guess you don't know anything about that. Let's, move on. I really wanted to put the end of this thing. But eventually the guy brings in his big dog, his champion, his Mason champion, who is apparently a sovereign grand commander. And apparently, we've done a lot of research on this guy, of course. These guys are shitting their pants. We'll talk about that. But anyway, he brings in the sovereign grand commander to try to answer questions and sell the Masons and answer the question that I had having to do with the rules and vows of a Master Mason. Now, this guy was from Baja originally, and, we've located him, of course, but let's just put it this way, he's English as a second language. And I don't know if this was something that they were using as a distraction or whatever, but again, this guy just droned on with monstrous amounts of bullshit, and I finally, you'll have to listen to the recording. We have the recording, it's out there, but it was a 4.5 hour chat that we were doing, and these guys came in there somewhere around the middle of it, at least. It got ugly. It got ugly towards the final 2/3 of it, but the point is that, of course, I'm all about the Getty, and I'm all about saving the children in the undergrounds. And I questioned this guy about several things that he was full of contradictions about. Like, for instance, when he was talking about Mexican politics, he said that the only people who were allowed to become president of Mexico were Masons. Now, this was bragging, okay? I don't know, what's the word we use instead of bragging, now? But anyway, that's what he was doing. He was trying to show how wonderful and powerful these Masons are. And I said, wait a minute. When I told him about the business with the widows and the Eastern Star and the Job's daughters, he said, whoa, that's in the United States. We're in Mexico. We don't recognize that. They're like a fraternity. You can only be a man if you're a Mason. You have to be a man if you're going to be a Mason. I said, oh, okay, well, you have a Jewish woman president of Mexico. You just got through saying that only a Mason could be president and only a man could be a Mason. It's like, what is this? What are you trying to say? Are you going to tell me that this Jewish woman is also a Mason now? He said, maybe. That's the kind of retardation that you're going to get out of these people. Seriously. No logic whatsoever. Anyway, I got a little tired of it. I brought up Carlos Slim and Carlos Salinas de Gotare, whatever they go. I never pronounce it right, and they get corrected by the Spanish speakers. I really don't give a damn. Carlos Salinas, you know who I'm talking about. Your former fucking corrupt president, the guy that's got, a lot of money, the one that is running Carlos Slim, the one they think is the richest man in the world. Anyway, I talked about the fact that Carlos Slim provides all the concrete that goes down into building these bunkers and how there's no way he could possibly not be involved. And then it goes back to this commander person, and he says, well, these bunkers, in so many words, paraphrasing, of course, he says, these bunkers are a, what does he call it? Conspiracy theory. There's no such thing. It's not true. It's made up. Now, at this point, I was over it. I was over this bullshit. I wasn't going to tolerate this stupid motherfucker at all. I mean, really, seriously, you're going to come in and say there's no such thing as fucking bunkers. The guy didn't even know who I was talking about. I mean, come on, the guy was playing stupid. Now, bottom line is, this guy was really stupid. To bring him into this fight was not a really smart thing. But I want to talk more about these people. Now, it looks like we got a decent extra number of people listening, so I'm going to assume that that's the people from, the group. we'll get to you guys. We'll get to talking about your GG33 and all that bullshit. Well, anyways, so fuck this Grand Commander guy. I mean, seriously, the guy comes in there. He's sort of he's got his accent. He's trying to be soft-spoken and try to talk about how the people who are members of all these great family values and what have you. And basically, I pretty much lost it with the guy and started getting rude. And I told him, I don't have to be polite to you. I can overtalk you. I can mute you. I mean, it's a free for all. You're gonna have to listen to the recording, but he basically blew it. He lost his smooth facade. And he basically exposed himself for all sorts of things. One, he said that he tried to suggest that I wasn't an intellectual or I wasn't intelligent because he spoke 2 languages, this kind of thing. This is of course, something that we get is only trotted out by the people who have the least self-esteem, from the immigrant community. But what else did he say? I really did enjoy calling him a Piche Bendejo. That was fun. I think that kind of bit into him a little bit. But the main thing is that he likes to think that he is this grand, supreme, powerful, dark wizard, Mason person. This is a big theme of what we're going to be talking about tonight, because we're talking about Satanists, real life people who practice this shit and think they have power. Now, it's funny because during the Spaces event, people they're asking me, how do they protect themselves from this and that? And I tell them, it's through service to others, expanding your field, being a gravity giver instead of a gravity taker, and how this protects you from all this bullshit. And then I have this Grand Commander guy trying to put a hex on me. He says, I'm going to hex you. I hex you, some bullshit like that. I heard these guys. Seriously, I've gotten all kinds of hexes from these people so far. And really, people, if you think that that's something to worry about, you really don't understand. You're not paying attention. But what else? I mean, he exposed a lot of things. And before we get into the things he exposed, I want to bring back this Marvel guy that brought him in. The Marvel guy, of course, he's a relatively young dude, looks like a Latin. I think he's probably fancies himself as a very handsome guy, and I've seen he has a thing. He does ladies' night spaces, so I'm assuming he thinks he's a real Don Juan. But you could tell what his ego's like because he actually does Photoshop and puts himself into photos of Tate, one of the Tate brothers, the bald one. I mean, come on. It's like these are the type of people when they get mad, they yell at you and say that you're poor and they have more money than you. I mean, but bear in mind, this is like a waiter or something. But he worked at Disneyland as Kylo Ren, and as such, I got to talk about this tunnel there because not only did he work as Disneyland as Kylo Ren, a literal Sith. I mean, come on, Jedi, Sith, a literal Sith character wannabe, who's also a Mason, who also worked for the notorious Masonic Club 33 on Disneyland, the one that we know is connected to a tunnel adjacent to Pirates of the Caribbean that eventually goes to the Getty. Now, without even saying anything, this guy had to come out and defend Club 33 and said, oh, no, we're dressed up in costume. We can't go from one land to another. We've got to use these tunnels so we can go to the bathroom and stuff. And, Kylo Ren doesn't pop up in Fantasyland or whatever stupid thing excuse. And then he comes out and acknowledges that, yes, there is a passage between Club 33 and Pirates of the Caribbean. The same one that was described by our victim that was taken underground and subsequently, drained of adrenochrome. And then he goes, oh, no, that just goes to bathrooms. Now here's the thing. Even in their, conscientious effort to try to protect the information, they're giving it away. It's the same thing with this idiot Grand Commander guy. He's trying to say, no, there's nothing evil. We're not Satanists. We're not doing any of this stuff. And he's like 2 minutes later, I'm going to put a hex on you. I mean, hello? Satanist much? I mean, come on. And I'll tell you, again, before I really get into all the details, that night, I believe it was, after this show, bear in mind, it was a 4.5-hour show, I told the guy that he came back to me. And apparently these guys were freaking out. And it was funny because to me, I felt like I had been ambushed by Masons, but apparently they felt that they had been ambushed by me. Now, bear in mind, there was like 4 guys there trying to push this Masonic shit, and Reptile was promoting it. So I had my hands full. But then they come back on social media and say that I was the one that ambushed them. I found that to be really amusing. I'm actually going to have to cut this show a little bit short. I know we've got some time, but I'll tell you, the stuff that's been going on, I mean, I had no clue, because right away I realized that I didn't know the name of this Grand Commander. Everybody was, Sovereign Commander, Sovereign Grant, Sovereign whatever the fuck bullshit, Grand Muckety Mac, Grand Poobah, whatever the hell. I realized, okay, it's just some Mexican dude, and I didn't really realize his name. So I went and, we did our Jedi thing. And let's just say that we found out all kinds of stuff. And one of the things we found out is that these guys are running a massive scheme that I think is a Ponzi scheme. It involves, NFTs, blockchain, Bitcoin, this kind of thing. They've got everything from a video game to several secret societies, secret clubs, to special NFT characters that you can use to get special discounts in these clubs. It's pretty ridiculous. We found a clip of this Mason Grand Master idiot basically connecting his Grand Lodge. I think I'm not exactly sure what lodge he's in. He could be in multiple lodges, but it looks to me like he may be the Las Vegas regular Latino Grand Lodge. Hard to say. But I do know his name. His name is Juan Antonio Domingo. I think Domingo. Isn't that Sunday? Interesting. Well, let's just say these guys are freaking out right now. But I'll tell you, not only was this, and it looks to me like Marvel guy was the CEO of the club. Okay, they've got several of these clubs, and I'm not really going to focus on these clubs too much because you really want to follow me on Twitter to keep up with this stuff. That's where it's really active. But the bottom line is, when you join these clubs, they try to pass it off as, oh yeah, you join the club, you learn all about Masons. They've also got another club. It's basically the first official school in the USA for teaching about Masons. I mean, come on, we're talking Satanism. But most of these clubs, like GG33, they have certain requirements, and you actually have to pay to join these clubs. And once you join them, you actually have to post this hashtag GG33 on your page. And they've got other variations of these clubs that you're also supposed to post. And like I said, they also have these little red circles, which of course represents the string from the Kabbalah, which is satanic. I don't care what you say. That's a funny thing about these Masons, is that it was Illuminati that infiltrated and took over were these Jewish guys. Come on, hello. And yeah, sure, they're Zionist Jews. They don't represent all Jews, but the bottom line is that it's the Talmud. It's always been the Talmud. When these guys become Master Masons and they kiss the book, it's not a Bible, it's a Talmud. They praise King Solomon. We know what King Solomon is. We know what he did. You could say it's Canaanite. No, it's not Canaanite. It's Phoenician. It goes back farther. Either way, we know what it is. We know what they're doing. We know who they are. And now they're becoming out in the open. Now, today, we have our group, of course. And I'll tell you, it wasn't that long ago, just maybe a couple of weeks or so, we had to deal with this other grifter, Emma, and her bulldog, Gray. Anyway, that was, that took our time, a couple of days, whatever, and we don't really pay attention. I'm sure we put a big dent in her little operation, but who knows? We don't even think about him anymore. But Gray showed up at my front door. I watched him in the camera, and as soon as he put his face pointed at the camera. I mean, seriously, you walk up to a door like that, you'd think you would look for the camera before you walked up there. I mean, but anyway, he took off. And so when I think about these PJ, wannabe mafia Mason fuckers, I think, gosh, what are you going to do? You send a little kid? You're going to send a little Sicarito? I mean, come on, seriously. It's like, maybe if they look like Jehovah's Witness, but even then. Maybe it could be I did have Jehovah's Witness showed up. Maybe they were, what's the feminine version of the Sicario, huh? I don't know. Anyway, bottom line is, it all started out all huff and puff, like I said, this guy did a Second Spaces, and apparently they'd asked me if I wanted to be on it, but I said, no, are you kidding, man? I'm not going to waste any more hours of my life yelling at these idiots for a recording. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, and of course, to Reptile, this is entertainment. This is drama. People love this shit. Well, but they did a recording anyway, and from what I hear, several people have listened to this silly thing. They actually used this opportunity, not as much as a rebuttal, but or a damage control for what had happened as a result of their tangling with me. They actually used the same old language that the Satanists always pull out, talking about how Lucifer is actually a good guy, he's the angel, this and that, God and Satan are the same thing. They've got all these little variations of this stuff, and they try to make it sound all biblical and what have you. It's really silly. I'll tell you one thing else about these people that I noticed. I see lots of patterns. It's not just their little codes that they put on their profiles, but they have these, very often, they have these fantasies about being royalty and being descended from one little troll female. She claimed to be related to Queen Beatrix. And I'm thinking, oh, Queen Beatrix, a known baby eater. Great. You're proud of it. You want to be associated with a baby eating royal. And, but she wasn't the only one. There's all kinds of them. I see these guys, I carry on my back two royal bloodlines. I'm like, oh, give me a fucking break. Seriously. First of all, this is America. We don't care about that shit. And second of all, you're fucking wannabe. I mean, they're all wannabes. But again, that's the thing that with these Masons and these societies is they take these really dumb people with these really low self-esteems and desire to get rich because they want to show everybody. They want to flash their cash and what have you. They don't, I mean, come on, what did this guy do? He went from a character at Disneyland to a waiter or something at Club 33. I mean, he was a Mason. Did that mean that he knew about the secret door and it was incumbent upon him to protect its knowledge with his job? I mean, anyway, what did he do after that? Well, we know he was involved. He just called himself the CEO of this Lazy Taco thing, which is just part of this big, huge Ponzi grift. The Lazy Taco apparently is NFTs, and the NFTs are used to give special privileges and extra access and stuff to all these clubs that they've created, these esoteric clubs. It's really crazy. And I'll tell you though, it's just like when we were dealing with Rick Messina and that whole, I mean, there's a lot of guys that we've dealt with already that are very much more serious than these guys. These guys are not scary at all. So far, they're pretty ridiculous. But just like with the Rick Messina issue, we didn't start out with Rick Messina. We started out with this Kai idiot, and it led us to Rick Messina, but it also led us to Roger Stone and others. And they all paid, and to me, this particular incident has its Rick Messina, who is this idiot guy, Gary, who claims to be the best numerology person in the world, who sells his services. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. It looked like he charged like $28,000 for a consultation, and depending on how soon he got to you would determine the price. If you wanted to wait only 24 hours for his wisdom, it was only $28,000. It was going to cost you $28,000. And what is he offering? He's basically telling you what to do and when to invest and what to do, whatever, and when your money days are, and all this gematria, fucking numerology bullshit. And he claims that he's always predicted the presidents. He's predicted all whatever. I don't know. He's got a bunch of crazy claims. He's even been on TV. He's this real ugly troll looking motherfucker. But it's funny. And the only reason I'm even paying attention to this idiot is because these lesser idiots go, oh, you better watch it. You're messing with Club 33. I mean, seriously, these guys put out death threats on me at the behest of Club 33. Like, you think you're messing with the Masons is bad. Well, now you're messing with Club 33. You know, blah, 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 GG33. I mean, my God, they think they're a fucking magic mafia. Seriously. I've seen videos of this idiot calling up other people who were trolling him, screaming at them, saying how he was going to put a hex on him. I mean, come on. These satanic nitwits they're off the chart with this stupidity. You know, but I got to tell you, though, here's the thing. They believe it. Yeah, and that's fine, you know, because I got to tell you, it's that I do too. I work with, I slaughter demons all night, you know, and here you guys are thinking that these demons are giving you power. It's fucking hilarious. I mean, seriously, it's like the Jedi have actually run into real life Sith that want to fuck with us out in the open. It's fucking hilarious. I'll tell you, I walked just today, you know, when all this crap was going down, they started out, you know, with their threats and saying they were going to dox everybody, they were going to get our ISPs, they're going to do all this stuff. And then the funny stuff, I started seeing this funny stuff. It's just like I said, what are they going to find out? I made weapons and shit. I actually saw that they started posting pictures of me with my various lasers and crap. And then all of a sudden, it's not, oh, these guys are fake. He doesn't have anything to do with the NSA, to, oh, this guy's an actual killer. He's actually killed people. I mean, come on. Yeah, I mean, seriously. So it's like these guys went from macho magic tough guys to absolutely pussies living in fear in like hours. This one idiot, and trust me, this one idiot in particular, he calls himself, it's a French name, he calls metasurfer, les surfer, you know, whatever bullshit. It's like metasurfer, whatever. He's a little hacker bulldog, which is funny because it's like he's really pathetic. But they've been doing tasers, they've been doing all this crap. It's like, really? What are you going to find on me? You think I got a business you're going to search? It's like, it's really crap. We've been seeing the stuff they've been posting today that they've been doing their deep dive trying to dig up dirt on me, and it's fucking pathetic. Meanwhile, my guys, I've got names, I've got everything. You know, I'm not even gonna say what I got because, you know, it's just like Messina. I got everything. I knew what was in the house next door. I knew what was buried in the backyard. I mean, come on. We haven't even brought in the psychics yet. Anyway, I warned these people. You know, I was nice. All they had to do is back off. And they, you know, these Masons, they have this thing they like to say, you know, which is interesting because it's always projection with these fucking psychos, is that they go, we didn't start the argument, but we're not going to take a step back. I'm thinking, you didn't start the argument, motherfuckers. You're so fucking stupid. It went from you ambushing me to me ambushing you. You stupid fucks. Anyway, so now they're worried. This guy actually posted, he says, if anything happens to Dr. Marvel or Sovereign Grand Commander, it was this Stephen Kelly guy and his people. I mean, God. I'm seriously. I don't know what that is. I guess that's bipolar. One minute you think you're a dark wizard lord of the universe, the next second you're a fucking pussy fearing for your life. It's incredible. But I'm not surprised because, of course, that is the power of Jesus, and that's what we use. So not only do your hexes not work, but we know how this story ends. You know, we've seen it a few times already. My guys, you guys make fun of me, you say I'm an old man. Shit. Oh, my God. Let me see. How many years have I been dealing with fuckheads like you? But, you know, anyway, it's just really funny and hilarious. Okay, so... But anyway, just to get back to this Club 33 bullshit, we've learned that, yeah, on Twitter and what have you, they all are basically required to have these hashtags or whatever somewhere on their page. They've got to pay homage. They got to honor their God, their 33, whatever it is, satanic bullshit. Seriously. And it's all about money. It's all about greed, and they think that this illumination that they've got is gives them power. You've got to look for it. I mean, first of all, what else can I tell you? But it's the main thing I think that I really want to leave you with is that we can't really tolerate this shit in public anymore. You know, I'll tell you, this is Satan right in your midst. And unfortunately, greed is really running everything. And it's just kind of like the Andrew Tate crap. It's kind of the same kind of mentality. You got these shit for brains that don't really do anything and think that they're making the big bucks, the easy money, but they're ripping people off. And this operation that these guys are running, when we look at this blockchain, I mean, we're still looking at it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if these motherfuckers ultimately turn out to be involved in human trafficking, because this shit is so crazy. And it's got all the signs of human trafficking going on here. Now, when you consider that we're basically talking about the Mexican mafia / Masons / whatever the fuck you want to call it, Satanist pendejos, seriously. But to be honest with you, when they started making their little noise and acting all tough, I mean, of course, most people think, whoa, this is scary. I mean, my God, the stupidity coming from these people, the sheer fear. And it's not surprising at all when you get these Satanists, because they're the ones that know what's coming for them. They're the ones that depend on our destruction in order for them to get ahead, because they're so fucking pinche inferior. I mean, seriously. Every single one of them. I don't know. Anyway, once again, I'm not going to waste too much time on these guys, because I know I really should have gone on, but of course, you know, and I want to welcome all the extra people, even if you are, you know, pinche Masons. But, you know, I'll tell you, I'll just give you some words. You're not going to win. And this nonsense with the computers, I know you guys are running amok, going crazy with this crap. You know, you really should be more afraid of the stuff you can't see. You know, I mean, you think you're all magic and you think that Satan's got your back, and you're fucking with actual fucking Jedi. I mean, it's fucking funny as hell. And you think this is about some stupid movie. Anyway, you know, I've been doing this so long, I don't even think about it. You know, doesn't even matter who you are. I don't even think about it. I know what happens. I know how this turns out. I've seen it before. And if my enemies that come, you know, if they were only stronger, that would be great. But, you know, we're fighting the very top guys. You guys are way down there, puny. Anyway, but that's all I can say. Don't get caught up in the greed or the ego. Speaking of greed, if you guys want to send me a donation, no, I'm kidding. That's what that Grand Sovereign Master goes. Reptile says, "Are there dungeons with child sex slaves?" And he goes, "Yeah, man, it's real evil." "Oh no, I'm just kidding." Oh, God, really, motherfucker? Anyway, seriously, you think we're dealing with smart people? We're not, guys. It's pathetic. Anyway, oh yeah, like I said, if you want to support me. I don't care about the money, but if you do want to send something, it'll help me. Let me see what it'll help me do. Who knows? I could buy another computer in case I have issues like I did today. You know what I mean? Clone on standby. Jeez, that's the other thing. I run so many computers. I don't know what these people think they're going to do. But oh yeah, we're 40 minutes in. Okay. What else I want to say? Oh yeah. If you want to send $1 or $2, go to my PayPal, Stephen Kelly 714 at Yahoo, and say friend or family, of course, because unlike these other, okay, insert rude word. I am not a business. I'm not taxable. This is strictly a love donation from a friend or family. All right? All right. Anyway, I appreciate everything. And if, of course, I'm assuming that these guys have all this information, but if you want my book, if you want healing, you want to learn about becoming a Jedi, you want to talk to me, you want to book me on a show, you want to send me nasty emails, send it to law17gun at AOL.com. That's the one I actually use for my email. If you want to fill it up with your spam or whatever, knock yourself out. But seriously, if you want to talk to me for any reason whatsoever, that's the one you use. The other one for the PayPal is not, I don't really use that for correspondence. Okay, so what else do I need to tell you? Of course, join the fun on Twitter. Join my Twitter page, Stephen Kelly 24 on Twitter. And also a lot of activity right now going on in our Telegram page, which of course is Occupy the Getty /Stephen D. Kelly. And I know a lot of guys have just joined. The first thing they do is they start spouting this really crazy Nazi anti-Jew stuff, which is insane. It's almost like these guys coming in there trying to bait me into some sort of argument that I'm not anti-Jewish enough for them or something like that. It's humorous. I mean, it's not humorous. Obviously, it's pathetic, but at the same time, it just shows you how weak these people are. So if you want to join that, please do. And obviously, we have subgroups where we can do what we do without the prying eyes of the fucking retards. But anyway, again, let's see. It looks like a pretty goodly amount of you have tuned in. I'd be curious to know how many of you are new listeners or whatever. But I'll tell you what, just for fun, since you're listening to me now, you're still here, which isn't crazy. Oh, look, a couple people just popped off. They knew I was looking at their ISP. Hey, send me an email, okay? All right? It's kind of a momentous show, and I could appreciate your support. And if you want to send me, hexes or whatever, you can do that too. But send me. I'd love to see, a goodly amount of emails corresponding with the number of people listening. Look at these guys jumping off. You getting bored? Jeez. Ugh. Anyway, guys. Again, the silly nonsense of the game of the show really kind of stressed me out, so I kind of forgot everything I wanted to say. Well, I didn't completely forget, but I mean, come on. I think I did pretty good because I didn't say, okay, fuck it. I mean, by 30 minutes in, you'd think I'd just say, fuck this. Normally I would. So sorry about that. But anyway, those of you that have stuck with me so long, obviously there's quite a few of you. I do appreciate it. And if you're a new listener, please let me know. Join the other groups. If you're an infiltrator, go ahead. We've had the best, But we're welcome. You're welcome to join us and learn stuff. And I do recommend you read the book before you start spouting any nonsense, okay? I really would appreciate it. Anyway, once again, the title of tonight's show was Butthurt Satanic Masons. And my name is Stephen D. Kelly, and this is the Stephen D. Kelly Show, and we are Truth Cat Radio, the one and only, www.truthcatradio.com. I may not have mentioned, but it is August 1st today, 2021. Who knows if that's a important date for these Masonic Satanic fucks, but anyway, let's see, it's 7:09, and I know that doesn't make up for all the time that I was late today, but again, I thank you guys for being patient. I'm sorry if I made you listen to the Outlaws on loop like that, okay? This is what I do when I'm waiting for the computer back up, okay? It was heinous, all right? Sorry about that. Total stress maker. Anyway, okay, guys. Once again, my name is Stephen D. Kelly, and I look forward to seeing you guys and talking to you all soon. And thank you for your effort and everybody that's been working so hard to take these Satanists down with me. Remember, they can't touch you, and everything's destiny, and they're more afraid of you than we are them. And, these guys, this is just another day in the land of the Jedi. These guys are no worse than any of the fuckers we've already dealt with. They're just a little more stupid. And have fun. And keep doing what you're doing, because obviously you're doing really well. And if it turns out that these guys are involved in human trafficking, well, we'll find out. And it could be that's what's going on, because, they're panicking. Is it really just a Ponzi scam getting shut down that they're panicking about? They're worried about their Bitcoin crashing? Ooh. That's their problem, huh? Anyway, thank you again for being with us tonight, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. My name is Stephen Kelly. Good night. God bless. Adios. And goodbye.